Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome back to another edition of Chat with Matt. We're recording this episode in mid-August 2021, where we're still going through some uncertainty with regards to the pandemic. Here in the UK, most of our restrictions have been removed, and slowly we're starting to move back into some office work, although by no means is it back to normal the way it was before the pandemic. So it got us thinking a little bit. What are we doing to support our people? There's been a recent article by the BBC on the 1st of July, which talks about the Great Resignation, in that there's a chance that there might be a huge attrition of people in all roles over the next year because they've seen something different over the course of the last year. So I was talking to my good friend Bill Taylor, who I'm going to introduce again in a moment, about what does that mean in sales? What should we be doing as sales managers and leaders to help our people? And Bill's got some great insights which we're going to share with you on this chat with Matt this afternoon. So Bill, how are you?
Matt, I'm well. I'm in California, and we're actually discouraged about the numbers of COVID. We're starting to go, if you will, backwards as the numbers go up. So as much freedom as we felt and normalcy, we're starting to put our masks on again, and the kids are going back to school, and there's a lot of volatility around masks or no masks. So I would say, Matt, I'm kind of moving into a more sober view where I was pretty liberated and excited 3 or 4 months ago as everything opened up again. So I think we need to be mindful of that. And what that means, I think, in the spirit of this discussion, is our sales professionals in the field continue to be feeling caught in between. I thought I was going to go back out to see the customers, and now I can't. So am I going? Am I not going? And I think there's some ambiguity there that sales managers in particular can address. And particularly, we'll talk about quality control of sales calls, discovery, and what they could be doing differently to make sure they retain and develop those people in the field.
Well, let's take that thread then, Bill, because as I was talking about this Great Resignation, it's all about making sure that we look after our people, that we develop, that we coach, we support, we retain talent, because we know that there's a ramp down and a ramp up. If you lose somebody, it takes about a year to onboard somebody and get them up to speed. So give me your perspective on that. As a sales leader in relation to quality control, what are you not seeing on one hand? So what should we be doing more of on the other hand?
Yeah, we have the great pleasure at Mentor Group to work with sales organizations all over the world. And so on any given day, as you know, I'm working with a sales team from Asia Pac, from EMEA, from the US, from Latin America. And there's been a couple interesting themes that have emerged. And this is what we want to focus on in this discussion, Matt. One is sales managers are saying, Bill, I don't have time to coach my people. I'm just too busy in meetings. You're telling me I should coach them. You're telling me I should encourage them and develop them. But, we just got to close business. And they're kind of defaulting to what many of us as sales managers in the past did, is just, what are you closing, is the only thing we ask. The second thing that's been showing up, and this has been really fascinating, is, and when we're actually training salespeople virtually, some of our exercises are asking them to put 3 or 4 slides together and talk about their value proposition in kind of a mock role play. And then I coach them and I critique them. Sometimes the sales managers are on the call. And what's interesting, Matt, and discouraging all in one breath, is they're not very good at it. They show a logo slide, they show a capability slide, they show a features and benefits slide, and they're supposed to be talking about discovery and problem solving, and they get done and they're really good at it. And I'll simply ask a question. So what was the problem you're trying to solve for the customer? Because, by the way, they already know all that stuff, or you wouldn't have got the call.
Yeah.
So you just wasted 7 minutes talking about how amazing you are, the breadth and scope. They already know that because that was probably the first call you had. This is the second call. You're trying to really uncover what's going on. You have uncovered some needs. So take the first 1 minute and talk about that problem. And then I think you may remind them of what's going on. But the quality control of a presentation in a sales call seems to be waning dramatically from my perspective, because they can't do it with me. So my question is, they're not doing it. And sales managers, by the way, on the calls have said, Bill, if you pressed me against the wall to do this, I would have done the same darn thing. But we've got to change that.
Okay, so let's take that thread and let's think. You and I know, and hopefully everybody listening to this know that the secret or not so secret sauce is coaching. It's being present in those presentations, observing, feeding back, coaching, looking for marginal gains and continuous improvement.
Yeah.
We know that. So let me chuck a couple of questions at you. I want your instinctive reaction. You've already talked about one. I'm a sales manager. I say to you, I like the idea, Bill. I have no time for coaching. What do you say?
I'm saying that's a false narrative for you, with all due respect. My question is, when are you not coaching? You're coaching every time you're with a sales professional. You're always coaching. You're always looking for, like you said, marginal gains of improvement. So the thing is, as we like to say, you've got to compartmentalize in a cadence of meetings what you're focused on. But if you're having a forecast discussion or a pipeline discussion or a one-on-one, you still should be, I believe, coaching into how can they improve and get even better. So that would be my reaction to that, because as I often say, it's interesting how much time you have to clean up the mess of a salesperson that doesn't do well. And then you tell me that you don't have time to coach. So you've just contradicted yourself in terms. By coaching, by being involved, you could save performance a great deal.
All right, good answer. So question number 2 of 3. Or statement number 2 of 3 for you to react to. It's far quicker, Bill, for me to tell you the answer and tell you what to do than it is to coach you.
Well, that response for me is that collaboration, encouragement, catching people doing things right, asking them to work through the problem is the best way for adults to learn and retain. So now we're into adult learning theory. If I just tell you what to do, you probably will comply, but I don't know how much buy-in you're going to create. So if I suddenly become just the answer person, then I think you're not really coaching and managing and leading. They should call a help desk and get the same answer. By the way, not that there shouldn't be a specific issue where if somebody's stuck, they need a directive answer in a time frame. Of course, as a sales manager, you do that. But what I'm getting at is, how do you create self-direction in that salesperson? How do you create critical thinking in the salesperson? And then, of course, how do you then create quality control that every conversation they have with that customer is high value and high quality? You know, there's an old quote by a guy that I worked for years ago, Neil Rackham, who developed Spin. And Neil said, is your discovery call worth sending them a $5,000 invoice because it was so valuable? Well, most of us don't have sales calls where the customer would say, I'd pay $5,000 for that. That was insightful. I think that's what's missing, is our salespeople are just having the same conversation over and over again. They may be making a lot of mistakes, and that's because I don't think there's quality control that's needed from the sales managers. That's my assumption.
Okay, that makes sense. So the third one, which is actually very closely tied to that, is we get into a customer pitch or presentation, and the customer expects me as the manager to be doing the talking, to be doing the presenting, which means it doesn't matter, or it matters less, should I say, the capability of the individual seller to be able to perform that action.
Yeah. Well, I think many sales professionals have leaned on their sales managers as the ultimate closers and as the ultimate pitchers of the value proposition. And again, what you run into now is you have a single point of failure. Sales managers, above all, are there to scale 5 people, 10 people, 15 people, to make them self-directed, to help them, encourage them, to coach them to become self-directed, self-sufficient. So 15 people were in the field, not a sales manager and 1 person in the field. And so to that end, I think what you've got is a scalability problem. And maybe that's an ego problem with the sales manager feeling like they're the only one that can pitch or the only one that can close. So I think that's a common thing we see people default into. And one of the ways to start getting at quality control, Matt, is using our favorite thing, Zoom, to actually encourage salespeople. Tell you what, next sales call, hit record, get permission to record, but I want to review that with you later. Or if we're on a call together pitching, we're going to record it and we're going to use that to review. And many people are freaked out by that, Matt. In our training sessions, they start to lock up. They do it every day, but they lock up. And the peers say, why are you so nervous? Well, I didn't have to do it in front of Bill before. Well, you do this every day. So we're kind of heading toward the hook in this discussion, Matt, is using the Zoom recordings as much as possible, or to get on a call and actually observe and give feedback to the salespeople. I'm hearing sales managers say, well, Bill, I don't have time to do that. So you're going to let a sub-optimized call happen without doing some coaching. I'm baffled by that.
Yeah, it goes back to, we've got an expression within Mentor that says we don't practice on the customer. So if I hear you right, what you're saying is actually do a practice pitch, a practice presentation, record it, watch it back. Great opportunity to do a one-to-one or even a small group coaching session, peer-to-peer, to bring the level of quality and autonomy for the individual to a higher level.
That's right. Yeah, and the fact that you would practice that ahead of time instead of winging it in the moment is, what we did there in our training sessions. We often do is say, we're going to give you 30 minutes to go prepare with a partner and come back and do the pitch for us. And the quality control's all over the map. Some people are elegant, nail it, confident, and others are saying, well, we work with 37 countries, we have 16 languages, we've got logos and offices, and it just sounds like noise, Matt. And I think sales managers have got they have the pressure point to step in and optimize the professionalism and communication of those sales pros that they're responsible for.
Gotcha. So as we get towards the end of this chat, I think there's a really solid thread here. Give me your Bill Taylor executive summary. If you're talking to a sales leader now, what's your first step? First things first, what do you do first to improve this quality control?
Yeah, thanks, Matt. I would challenge my fellow sales leaders to do the following. Have every one of your salespeople record on Zoom and send it to you, the standard sales pitch, the standard 5-minute, 10-minute deck, and then get together with them in your next one-on-one, review that recording together and see what the consistency is across the sales team. Number 2, get on a call like a ride-along and listen in and make sure you give solid behavior-based feedback about how they can do even better than they're doing. And also catch them doing things right. Give them encouragement, way to go, that was outstanding. 2 challenges, and I know that you'll receive immediate feedback and immediate ROI on that for quality control, and encouragement in developing people to retain them.
Wonderful.
There you go.
Wonderful. Yeah. For every call, for every email, for every meeting your sales teams are doing, there's a cost of sale. How confident are you that you're not practicing on your customer? That every time you have one of those engagements, they are as good as they can possibly be? Because let's be honest, more often than not, the true unique selling point in a sales motion now is the individual and the way you sell. So if you're not making sure that that is as good as it possibly can be, what are you doing? Are you spending time as a leader doing other things that is not coaching, as Bill said? Maybe you are. So where's your focus? Are you practicing on customers, or have you got a system in place that's going to allow you to make sure that every customer interaction is world class? That could be your marginal gain to take away from this chat today. And Bill, as always, it's really insightful, and your tips and your advice there, I think is going to be very well received from everybody listening and watching this chat.
Good. Thanks a lot, Matt. I always appreciate working with you. Good luck out there.
Yeah, good luck, everybody. And stay safe. As we've talked about, things are still very uncertain at the moment. Don't practice on customers. Think of ways that you can do stuff different. Thank you for taking the time out, and we'll see you soon on another chat with Matt. Bill, thanks again.
You're welcome. Take good care. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.